Tim Holland as a sorcerer. So we've done fighter, archer, warrior, thief, mage. Now we're doing a sorcerer. So the sorcerer is very similar to a mage. However, the mage is more of like a healing kind of build, whereas the sorcerer, you have a lot more damage capabilities. So I used up quite a lot of skills as a sorcerer just to try them all out, but the 4 I've been using is the 4 that I fell in love with as soon as I unlocked them, and I've been using them ever since. Now this clip will show you how easy it is to take down an enemy. Obviously the pawns play a big part in it as well, but with a sorcerer class you can just rain down a bunch of different elements on it and it will kill it nice and slow. Yeah, to be honest, I do prefer being a sorcerer over a mage because I think the pawns are there to heal you. I think as your main character or your main pawn, you guys should be doing most of the damage anyway. Or that's just the kind of playstyle I like to play. So look at that. Easy. So the first one I'll be talking about is the high season. If that's how you pronounce it. This is probably the one that I use the most before I engage into fights. So if I see an enemy and I catch him off guard, this is one I like to use. It's got quite a good damage and it staggers small enemies up, and it also knocks down big boys, so it's good for the small enemies and it's also good for the big enemies. So this is the skill that I like to use in most of my fights with the small enemies because number 1, you can get a group of them, and number 2, it is quite high damage, so even if you don't kill them, you damage them enough after you put them in the air, and then when they drop, they're ready to be finished off. If you see a troll admiring the view, looking at the beach, chilling, you can ruin its day with this skill. So, one time I was walking across and I just saw this ogre, and this skill, as you can see, it took out the small enemies, but it's also made them stumble a little bit. So this skill you can use for small enemies, however you can also use this for the big boys to stagger them and knock them down possibly as well. I like to just spam this move, to be honest, especially if you have really good pawns. They take most of the aggro and their skills that you can look for when you're searching for a pawn, but you can literally just spam this move and before you know it, that big boy will be gone. Look at that. Oof. Jeez, I've got a sick team, man. I mean, I always got a sick team, but damn, I believe we can take down anyone and anything. Now the next skill does have some elemental damage. It's called the High Haggle. So whenever you apply it, it's got this massive storm of ice powers. Honey, where is my super suit? You can use this as well instead of the high season if you have clumps of enemies. It does have a chance of freezing them. I also like to use it when I need to revive my friends and I can freeze the area, so it can give me a little bit of protection. Now, just like most skills, you can use it for small enemies or the bigger enemies. It's really good if you have a boss in like a tight space and they can't move around much. You do have a chance of freezing them, but it's a very small chance. Harpies is probably the most annoying small enemy that I fight, so it's really good if you have a group of them. You can use it and you have a chance of freezing them, and if they're flying in that area and staying in that area, they're just going to keep damaging themselves, so it's alright. Now this skill is underrated, so you're basically taking health from the enemy and passing it on to you. The only bad thing about this skill is you have to stay still, but apart from that, it's actually pretty darn good. Now you're gonna see it doesn't do crazy damage to enemies, but that's because this spell isn't for damage. This spell is actually to get your health back up. So if you've lost a lot of health and you need to get a bit of health, just use this skill and you'll get some of that health back. So if you're having trouble with a boss and they're down, you can just basically target one of their vitals, mainly the head, and you can get some of that health back whilst you damage it slowly. Again, you need to be not too close to the enemy, otherwise they can easily hit you and they'll get rid of the spell. So you need to keep your distance. And again, as you can see, my pawns always shine in every video because they're always doing most of the work. You know what I mean? And now for my favorite skill. So you basically put out an orb on an enemy. You can use it on small enemies or big enemies. Again, vital points. And you can keep hitting it with your square, and after a couple of seconds it's going to explode and do a lot of damage, just like there. Now most enemies you encounter, especially if they're by themselves, if you use their move after you've used the skill, they're pretty much gonna die, because like, look at it, it's freaking beastie, bro. It's probably my favorite skill as a sorcerer as well. Now where I think this skill shines the most is against the bosses. So all you need to do is aim for the head and keep spamming the square. Obviously your team's gonna help out anyway, but you're gonna see how easily you can take down bosses with this. This is again probably my favorite skill to use as a sorcerer. So enjoy the next few clips showing how easy it is to kill the bosses. Oi! We have no chance. Let's aim for the head. Oh, he's definitely going after this. Go get him, kids. If you ever tried doing the sorcerer vocation, trust me, you want this in any setup. It's amazing, man. Now onto my thoughts about the sorcerer class. Now this vocation surprised me because I just assumed that it was going to be just like a mage, but it's totally not. Like, that's why I should never assume, because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. Wait. But yeah, so with this class, it does have a lot more damage. There's a lot of elemental skills that you can use, but those were the skills that I used the most. And I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Again, it's a support build, so you're not in the front lines slashing and dicing. You're pretty much chilling in the back, but you can do a lot of damage even though you're just chilling in the back, as you can see with one of the skills I'm using there. Man, I really enjoyed this class. I think I've fought probably about 4 dragons with this class, and I think I found it the easiest to kill dragons with, which is so weird because it's not the class I've had the most fun with, but it's definitely the class that I found slaying dragons is a lot easier. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. My next class I'll be doing is the Mystic Spear Hand, so I've been cranking out getting clips for you guys for these videos. So if you enjoyed the video, consider giving me a like or subscribe. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out, my dudes.